Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite places, countries, wherever. And today I am gonna talk about another place. I'm gonna continue on with my Me Around the World series where I talk about the places that I have been to in my life. Every time I go to a new place, I'll make a video about it. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about my experience, and I'll talk about some things I've learned about going there, some tips and tricks about traveling there. So I have talked about Europe, I've talked about France, Italy, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, Scandinavia, also Finland. I haven't been to Iceland though. I have talked about the USA quite a bit, Alaska, Washington, California, and Texas. I have talked about Canada too. And I've also talked about Philippines and South Korea. And I haven't talked about Japan and a bunch of other Southeast Asian countries. So 1.5 weeks later, I will go to Guangxi, which is a province in China. I will go to Nanning and Guilin, and it's going to be pretty fun, pretty awesome. Yeah. So before I go there, I would like to actually start talking about the province up north of Hong Kong. I will eventually do videos about Hong Kong and Macau and Taiwan, but for now I would like to talk about Guangdong. So here we go. So first off, before I start off the video, okay, here's a little tip. If you travel in China and you want to remember places' names, don't just remember how to pronounce their names. Don't just look at their English name. That way it's going to be super confusing because you have places' names like Beijing, Tianjin, Nanjing, and it's like Qinjin, Jianjin, Jianjin, and it sounds confusing. So don't just remember places by their by how they sound. Actually understand the meaning of their names. That's how Chinese people find every place name different from each other, because their meanings are different. And even though their pronunciations might be similar, their meaning is different. So we have the Guangdong region, which literally translates to Big East or Grand East, large East. And then we have Guangxi, which is like west of Guangdong, so it's big west. So yeah, if you have really done your research, you'll realize that China place names are actually really boring. Also, this is going to be a rather different Me Around the World video, because usually I would talk about a trip that I've recently had in that place, and I would describe what happened on every day, the places I've been to, my favorite parts, my least favorite parts. On this video, I can't do that because I've been to Guangdong like I don't know, like 7, 8 times, 9 times, maybe 10, maybe 11. I think somewhere in between 8 to 11. So I can't just talk about all the places I've been to in these 11 trips. But also, what may disappoint you even more is that every time I go to Guangdong, I only stay there for like 2 to 4 days, and then I'll just go back to Hong Kong. And I've been to this one specific amusement park for like 6 to 7 times, because my mom knows a friend whose friend is the CEO of a theme park in Guangdong, in there, not in the middle of the city, kind of in the outskirts of the city, and we have been to that theme park for like 6, 7 times. In fact, I have made like a short vertical video, and yeah, we stayed at those theme parks usually for the entirety of the trip, and then sometimes we would take a bus to the pier and take a boat back to Hong Kong. But last time I've been there, we took a train to Guangzhou, and then from there on, my mom's friend picked us up and drove us there. And yeah, let's talk about that theme park first. It's called Changlu. I think that's how you say it in Mandarin. Jeez. I'm gonna sound absolutely dumb in this video if I speak too much Mandarin, because it's not like I'm not like great in Mandarin. And yeah, if you are a tourist in China, if you are a tourist who wants to go to China, you probably won't go to this theme park because it's really far away from the city center. So yeah, you have, I'm gonna show you the map. You have Guangdong, and on the north of Hong Kong it's Shenzhen, and then you go up north and a little bit more westwards, you go to the capital of the province, that is Guangzhou, which means big land. And then you go down a little bit and you go to Foshan, which is a Buddha hill, which is the cultural capital of the province. And then if you go down again, you'll see Jiangmen Lake Door, which is also the homonym for anus. Yep. And then Zhongshan, which is Sun Yat-sen's nickname, and also it means middle mountain. And in between all four of the previously mentioned cities, in the middle, right in the middle, it's that theme park. And that theme park is a really special theme park. I have gone there many times when I was young, but then our family just stopped going there until like this last year Christmas for some reason. So I was really young and I didn't really have any memories of it, other than it's a really Chinese place, like countryside Chinese place, where everything is made out of brown wood and gray stones, and a very natural place. Smells very Chinese too. Smells rice wine. I remember that one of the spots in that amusement park is a rice wine store, and every time I walked past that when I was a kid, I would just hold my nose together because it stinks ass. And it's an amusement park with like rides, roller coaster rides and all of that, and all of them is like cheap and unsafe because all of them is made and built in China. But you know, they're mostly safe. They're not like great or ambitious or anything. Yeah, and there are, you know, exhibitions. There's this zoo part in that amusement park. There's a part where you can play go-karts, which I've played last Christmas. And there are lots of restaurants. There are lots of lakes, and in the middle of lakes we get artificial islands. Parks are a really important part of China. Fuck, what's going on with the monitor? Okay. Parks are really important. Lakes, just large lakes, nice pretty flowers and grass around it, and an artificial island, and maybe an artificial mountain or a pavilion in the middle. And there are also hotel rooms in that theme park. There are many different types of hotel rooms. Last Christmas I stayed at the boat hotel room, which is actually pretty fancy, pretty nice, and overall it was a really nice experience. Not like I get to go around the major cities in Guangdong, but like still I had fun. I could take a rest, and the food there is pretty good, I guess. You know, it's more or less the same with Hong Kong food. It's like food in the north, like slightly up north, and Guangdong is like basically 98% or 97% similar to Hong Kong food, except less Western and more mainland China. But yeah, that is my take on the theme park. Now, I've also been to another theme park. Yes, the first time I've been to Guangdong, I was actually 6 years old, and I've been to another theme park called Changlong, and it's a little bit nearer to the capital, but still not inside the city. It's somewhere in between Foshan and Guangzhou, and it's a more famous amusement park, theme park slash theme park. There's a big hotel in there. It's way more fancy, way more modern, way more advanced. The zoo there is gigantic, and it's really famous for the white tiger. But yeah, again, since I haven't been there since I was 6, so I have like little to no memories of going there. And other than that, I just went through photos and videos in my computer, and I found out in one of the photos I was in a place called Guangdong, which is east of Hong Kong in the Guangdong province, which is surprising because I never knew I've been there. And there's this one photo, and that's it. And I have zero recollection of going there, so I am not going to talk about that either, but I thought I should tell you that. I think I may have been to my mom's friend's home for one time. Yeah, my mom's friend, whose friend is the CEO of the theme park, and my mom's friend lives in Dongguan. So I think I've been there, but that was a really, really long time ago. I barely remember anything that had happened. And then of course we have the notorious Shenzhen, which is at the border between Hong Kong and China. People there still speak Cantonese. In fact, a majority of the people in central Guangdong province speak Cantonese. But the more north you go, the more Mandarin it sounds, and then you will get to a point where most people just speaks Mandarin. I guess the most important trip that I've ever been to Guangdong is the trip that I had last year, April, where it's a school trip, and we went to Guangdong for 3 days and 2 nights. And I went there with my classmates, and it was organized by the school, so I cannot use my own phone when the teacher's here. And nobody can pull out their smartphones or any phones or any electronic devices when they are in a school activity. Welcome to Asia. I don't know. Yeah, in the USA, you can actually use your phone during class. Anyway, went there for 3 days, and it was a really cool experience. So I'm gonna talk about what happened there. I'm not gonna talk about everything because this is a school organized trip. So we've been to places that are not touristy at all. Mostly we've been to museums. Promoting the great economy of China and stuffs like that. And first thing, we went from our school on the Hong Kong island all the way to the border, and it takes 1.5 hours to drive up there. And then after we cross the border, we take another bus. The first thing we've all noticed when we cross the border is that mainland China is like way dirtier than Hong Kong. The air is just way more polluted, way more thick and dense. When I go to other countries, and maybe in the USA or maybe in Europe, after I leave the airport, I would be surprised by how fresh the air is outside. And every time I return to Hong Kong again, it feels dense and thick and hot and humid. And when I go to mainland China, it's even worse. There's this fog in the sky, and it's not really fog, it's really just polluted air, and it's always there, and the air is not good. The air is not good. And I heard that the air pollution problem is even worse in northern China. So if you're traveling to China, you have to put that in mind. Keep that in mind, that the air is not that clean. And people in mainland China, now I'm not racist or anything, but Hong Kong people has a history of disliking mainland Chinese people because because of Asian invasion. Mainland Chinese people would travel to Hong Kong and raid the stores in Hong Kong. But it's just a stereotype. I don't think all mainland Chinese people are like that. I don't think all of them are this rude and this careless and this dirty, like pissing on the ground in the public, kind of dirty, which actually happened when we crossed the border. I saw that. We saw that. So yeah, we went to Shenzhen, and Shenzhen means deep. Yeah, whatever. It's just a name. Fuck it. So we went there, and majority of people there still speaks Cantonese. We went to this fancy museum place about the economy of China, and it's boring. It's futuristic. It's fancy, but it's really not that great. And then we went to Guangzhou. Finally, we went to the capital of the Guangdong region, and it's similar to Hong Kong, except in Hong Kong, now I'm gonna get a little abstract here. When you walk around in the city of Hong Kong, the roads are irregular, and same for mainland China. The roads, they're not in grids, in tidy grids like we're in LA. No, the roads are irregular. They bend, they twist, there's lots of dead ends, not very systematic. But at least in Hong Kong, there are Western influences to the streets and the buildings. Especially in more populous places, there are Western influences, and you can actually tell that people do give a shit about globalization of style of architecture, and trying to make the buildings and the architecture and the urban planning more consistent and a little bit more up to date to the style of the rest of the world. And in mainland China, zero Western influence, zero, and it's a mess. It's a total mess, and it feels like I'm being trapped. It feels almost kind of claustrophobic, like there are just all these buildings and all these roads, and at least in Hong Kong there are parks over here, like there's something over there that's kind of different. But in mainland China, it's just roads and weird buildings and everywhere, and it's all polluted air. And in a way, it's actually a pretty unique experience. Like I actually feel kind of good about going there, because it is an experience, I have to say. One thing that's really distinct about places in China is that they are super messy. They're super chopped up, messy, and inconsistent, and in a way that that is irregular and patternless. I'm talking about the architecture and the urban planning, and yeah. It sounds like I'm shitting on mainland China right now, but there are parts about mainland China that I really love as well. So we went to Guangzhou. We had lunch in this restaurant, and it's pretty cool. I'll talk about the food stuffs later. And then we went to a garbage incinerator, and again, if you're a tourist, you you won't go there. And then we went to an electric car company. Mainland China, futuristic technology, economic stuffs. And then we went to a hotel, and we also went to another restaurant, and that's basically day one. Yeah. Let's talk about the restaurants in mainland China, though. Also in Hong Kong, same. Chinese restaurants are different from Western restaurants in that it's a huge hall that looks expensive, yellow lights everywhere, and these round tables, just round tables, and people sitting around the tables. And on these round tables, there's a glass disc where you can spin around, and waiter would put food on that disc, and you spin around so that you can, get the food. And that's how it goes in all the restaurants in China. They give you white ceramic cups and plates and bowls, and they also give you this huge pot of like tea, and for most of the times you need to wash the dishes yourself before you have lunch. More like it's already washed, but you need to wash it again, and with the tea. And they would also give you teapots and hot water. They don't serve cold water in China, by the way, in restaurants. I mean, I guess you could ask for cold water, but normally when you're going to drink tea, they would give you hot water and hot pots of tea. So there's that. Anyway, we went through all of these small, weird, winding roads, getting into another city again, and then anyway, we went to the hotel and we stayed there, and by that time we have already arrived at Foshan. And yeah, and by that time we have already arrived at Foshan, which means there are way more cool places to go in that city. I'm just gonna call this place Buddha Hill because I sound like I'm trying to sing every time I say the name of the city. So yeah, I think Buddha Hill is the cultural capital of the Guangdong province, meaning that there are more cool places to go. So we went to this village thing, this old middle Chinese village. Not really that old. It's built in 16th century, so it's not really that old. It's already past the medieval times, and it's like Ming Dynasty. So it's not really that old, but it's still cool. So old Chinese architecture is even more different. Again, everything's just pointy and irregular. All the houses are rectangular and irregular, and the rooftops are pointy, and lots of gray stones, and also lots of red. But yeah, it was actually pretty fantastic, really beautiful. I've always wanted to go to somewhere that is really old Chinese place, and I've gone to there, and it's actually really beautiful. I actually enjoyed while staying it there. But that is not the end, because there's somewhere even better. Okay, by the way, that place name is Nanfeng Guzhou. I guess that's how you say it. And then after that, we went to Lingnan Tiandi, where it's even better. Another old school Chinese village, with gray rocky paths, just small rocky houses everywhere. So it's a protected heritage in China, a protected piece of land. But the government doesn't want to just abandon it, so they gentrified it and turned it into a fancy touristy place. So if you ever go to southern China, go to Foshan and go to this place, because this place is very tourist friendly and it's pretty beautiful. And it feels like a maze when I go through there with my classmates. And we even stopped by at one of the restaurants and we had the most famous Guangdong food. People always say Guangdong province is famous for dim sum. Shut up. Dim sum is a thing that's really popular in the entirety of southern China, and it's not really that special. So yeah, in my opinion, dim sum is overrated, and it's not the most it's not the food that most represents the Guangdong province. I believe the food that represents the Guangdong province the best is double skim milk. Yeah, if you the direct translation for that is double skim milk, 香皮奶. But actually it's like a milk pudding, but it's slightly sweet and it has this really nice milky flavor to it. That's very nice. And sometimes people would put mango on top and it's amazing. Sometimes people would put coconut milk mixin with the milk pudding. It's just awesome. And also fried milk, deep fried milk. They're sweet. They are crunchy on the outside, really soft in the inside, and a real delicacy. I really enjoy eating deep fried milk. It's a thing. And also RMB. The currency is RMB. And if you go to Hong Kong, you use Hong Kong dollars, not RMB. Yeah, and that's basically it. And then on day 2, after that, we went to another school to check out what school life is like in mainland China, and it's even more strict. Of course, smartphones are unallowed, but living outside of the school is also unallowed. It's like Harry Potter, it's like Hogwarts, except super boring and you're trapped. And all the boys need to have the same haircut, and all the girls need to have the same haircut. Ponytails are not allowed, which is crazy because in my school, only ponytails are allowed if you have long hair and if you're a girl. If you have short hair, sure, don't wear one. Don't have one. And yeah, really strict. But yeah, we still had fun. We attended a class in that school, and it's a chemistry class. And in my school right now in Hong Kong, we use English, but in mainland China, of course, you use Mandarin. So it's all like I don't get any of it at all. So yeah, if you want to go to China, just learn some Mandarin. But also, if you go to the south, learn some Cantonese as well. And also, speaking of languages, people write Chinese. The words are in Chinese. Sometimes they would write English, but most of the time it's gonna suck. The English translation there sucks. And the Chinese in mainland China is simplified because they're lazy. While the Chinese in Macau, Hong Kong, and Taiwan are traditional, like real Chinese, like real actual Chinese. So they're just lazy. And on day 3, we went back to Guangzhou. We visited a science center in Guangzhou, and again, super, they try to make it look super fancy and otherworldly and alien on the outside, and very futuristic on the inside. And it's meh. And then we went to a farm for some reason, so yeah, there's that. And then after that, we went back to Hong Kong. So there's that. So there are so many other places in the Guangdong region that I haven't been to. A lot of places in the far west and the far east of that province alone, I haven't been to, let alone other provinces. But yeah, it's still not that bad of a place. Even though, in my opinion, I think the Guangdong province is the least interesting. But still, you can check out. Also, I'm pretty sure that there are so many more places in Guangdong that I haven't been to, so many cool places, so I will definitely go there again and visit there again. So yeah, let's get to the food part. Let's talk about the food, which is very interesting because Chinese food is different from Western food. First of all, no fortune cookies. Fuck fortune cookies. They suck. Also, fuck paper boxes. Americans put Chinese food in paper boxes for no reason. I don't get it at all. Let's talk about Chinese food though, Guangdong food especially. There are so many Guangdong dishes. I'm gonna go through some of the best foods in the Guangdong region and in Hong Kong and in Macau and in South China in general. Barbecue, sweet sauce, pork, char siu, and chicken, they go together all the time. Also sweet and sour pork spare ribs. I really like eating those. They're pretty amazing. Sweet and sour with bell pepper chopped up and pineapple. So if you hate pineapple on pizza, maybe you'll not be a fan of this. Fried rice and fried noodles, always, because why not? You can also expect yourself drinking a lot of tea in China, and not much cold water, but hot water, warm water, not much else. Yeah, there are foods in China that are just non-existent in USA, I think, at least, like taro. Like, they exist in USA, but they're rare. And also lots of tofu in southern Chinese food, I guess. Lots and lots of tofu, which is great. You know, when I was young, I hate tofu. It's this bland white blob. But now I actually enjoy it quite a bit because it enriches the texture of the dish. Oh yeah, also, if you eat Chinese, it's not like Western food where you just order a dish and then you put that dish in front of you and then you just eat on that dish. Everyone needs a bowl of white rice. Usually for meals like lunches and dinners, the basis of a Chinese meal is a bowl of white rice. And then you have another plate as well. So you would use your chopsticks to get the food, put on the plate, and you would serve it with the rice. So rice is the base of any meal. But there's that. So yeah, overall, I'm not too crazy, not too head over heels for mainland China and for Guangdong region specifically. Maybe I'll absolutely love the rest of China. Who knows? But for this province alone, I'm not too crazy about it. Because there isn't really much in terms of cultural places, but there are some highlights, of course. And the architecture over there, the urban planning, it's messy, it's inconsistent, it's very irregular and very chopped up, and it feels like it's trying too hard to be appealing, and it feels outdated. But then there's also this side of mainland China where it's very propaganda-ish, where you see all these big banners and posters with red words or golden words with a red background that are in 4 or in 5s or in 6, just slogans everywhere. And those parts are rather blunt than messy. And mainland China has a certain style that I actually really appreciate culturally. And that's it. If you go to mainland China, first of all, lots of things are made in China, and they're not really that safe. So yeah, if you want to travel to China, just stay safe and not be scammed. But still overall, I'm gonna go there again sometime in the future, maybe 10 years later, and I will give you an update. So what are your thoughts on Guangdong, China, if you've been there? Comments below, like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more. Thanks for watching.